Hey, welcome back to the Padiano channel. Today, we're doing the biscuit test. Now, why would we want to do a biscuit test on an offset smoker? The answer is really simple. We want to know where our hot spots are. That's going to come in really handy for when we're doing a brisket, and we don't want to overcook the flat, but we want the point to be just right. So let's get started. Let's walk through what we're going to do. We're going to take these biscuits. These are just cheap biscuits from Walmart. We bought in bulk. We're going to take these biscuits and we're going to lay them all throughout the grate. We're going to cover both the bottom and the top grates. Then we're just going to let them cook. We're going to let them go probably about 15 minutes, and then we're going to see where they're burned, where they're underdone, where they're just right. So we've got all our biscuits on here. Now I have a couple of predictions, what I think is going to happen, and we're going to find out if I'm right. My first thought is these ones closest to the firebox are probably going to burn, while these ones closer to the smoke collector are going to be pretty close to even. However, I also think these ones on the top will ultimately burn as well, or at least be really, really cooked, just because heat rises and it's going to bring up before it comes back down to go up the smoke collector. So those are my predictions. We're going to find out just a few minutes whether that's true. It's been 15 minutes, so let's take a look at these biscuits. Whew. So let's get our first look here. Let's take a look at our results. So pretty much exactly what I thought would happen. The ones closest to the firebox are the most done, and the ones closer to the smoke collector are more even, maybe even a tad underdone, while the ones on top are very well cooked. So let's start in this very back corner. So as we can see, pretty well done, as are most of these. So in our first row here, closest to the firebox, what this tells me is that far back corner is the hottest part of the smoker so far. So now let's take a look. We're going to try and keep them in order here. Whew, look at that one. This makes sense to me. And the reason why is because inside of our cook chamber, between the firebox and the main chamber, there's a deflector plate. So what's happening is that heat is coming up, but it's hitting that deflector plate, which protected the first row of biscuits. But then that heat came up under the deflector plate and hit right where this second row is. Take a look and keep going down the line here. So what we're seeing, pretty consistent with what I thought my predictions were. This row, there's a bit more heat because, again, it's catching from the deflector plate like in the second row. These are all of our biscuits from the bottom grates of the smoker. So again, my initial predictions were fairly accurate. One thing, like I said, I didn't account for was the deflector plate row. So those got really overcooked. But as you see, as it moves across the grate to the end pieces here, we've got, this one's actually pretty well done. If I were cooking a brisket, that I would want to point the point further this way, but because it's such a low and slow cook, I don't want it over here in this fire. This is where I'd want something hot and fast. If I were doing some chicken, something like that, that I wanted to really get up to temp quickly, I'm going to put it on this side. Where more of a brisket, a pork butt, something like that, I'm going to want closer to the smoke collector to kind of protect it from burning on those long cooks. Let's take a look at our top rack. All right, so this kind of what I thought. It'd be more done than the rest of these, but it kind of fits in here. So it's kind of in between that third and fourth layer in that top back corner. So let's take a look at some of the others. The one thing I just learned as I was pulling these off is right here is very even. This biscuit is perfectly cooked. So I want to keep that in mind, that towards this half of the upper grate is exactly where I'd want it to be. When we set out to make this video, it was find out where the hot spots are. I think we can safely say we accomplished that. Again, we've got our bottom and our upper grate here. So our really hot spots are going to be the second row. So not closest to the firebox, but right near that deflector plate. And then our most even spot on the whole smoker, the most even spot is right here on the top grate. So I'd want to keep that in mind if I were cooking something maybe smaller, something that I really needed to be dialed in exactly. But for the most part, what I've learned is hot and fast, I'm going to do over here. Low and slow, I'm going to do over here. So that concludes the biscuit test for today. As always, if you have any questions, please put those down in the comments. Like this video and subscribe. Have any ideas on what you'd like to see next, please put those in the comment as well.